guys, welcome to the first video in my series of how to use Gary Chaffee's drum books. If you're not familiar with who Gary Chaffee is, he was the lead percussion instructor at the Berklee School of Music in the mid-1970s and is responsible for such drummers as Vinnie Colaiuta, Steve Smith, Jonathan Moffett, J.R. John Robinson, Joey Kramer. The list goes on and on of guys who have studied with him. It's literally a who's list of drummers. Gary wrote 4 fantastic drum books called the Pattern Series. And in this episode, I'm going to be dealing with how to start to use his book, Rhythm and Meter Patterns. Gary's books are amazing, but the problem with Gary's books is they leave a lot to be desired as far as how to use them on the drum set. So there's a lot of confusion out there of how exactly to use these drum books. And I'm hoping to demystify some of that for you. In Gary's book, Rhythm and Meter Patterns, he has a fantastic section at the beginning of the book. Now, this is Rhythm and Meter Patterns. As you can see, mine is pretty old. It's pretty beat up. And the pages that I'm referring to are pages 16, 17, and 19. And these are the most important pages to me in this drum book. And the reason being is it starts us going down the subdivision road of playing each subdivision into the next. In other words, 2 notes per beat up to 8 notes per beat. Then he brings us in to an etude on page 19 where he puts all of it together. In this video, we're going to be looking at this in a linear sense. So in other words, if you're not familiar with linear drumming, that means only one sound source hits at a time. So in other words, only one hand or foot hits at a time. Gary introduced this in his book, Time Functioning Patterns, in the end section. I've changed this a little bit to suit my needs better, and I encourage you to do the same if you don't like the patterns that I'm presenting to you here. As a simple breakdown for an 8th note, which is 2 notes per beat, of course, we're going to be using one hand and one foot. A triplet, 3 notes per beat, is going to be right, left, bass drum. 16th notes, right, left, left bass drum. Quintuplets, right, left, bass drum. Sextuplets, 6 notes per beat, right, left, bass drum. Septuplets, which is 7 notes per beat, right, left, bass drum, right, left, bass drum. And finally, 32nd notes, which of course is 8 notes per beat. We're simply going to go right, left, bass drum, bass drum. Let's take a look now. Exercises number 1 to 7 on page 16 of Rhythm and Meter Patterns, where I play all of the subdivisions at 72 beats a minute. Once you have that down and you're very comfortable with that, we want to start moving from one subdivision to the next. I'm not going to play all of them here for you guys, but I will play all the 8th note permutations. So in other words, 8th notes going into the next subdivision up to 8 notes. So here it is, exercises 8 to 13, again at 72 beats a minute on the snare drum. Now, a great way to start to get some of this into your playing is to set up some time up front. So I'm going to play 1.5 bars or 6 beats of just standard funk time, and then use exercises 8 to 13 as a drum fill around the drum kit. Let's check it out. finally, we have the etude on page 19. I'm going to play this here at 72 beats a minute, just on the snare drum, so you can hear how the etude sounds. Take your time with this. This is incredibly advanced material, but it's going to open up your playing. Let's check out and see what this sounds like on the snare drum, between the snare drum and bass drum. Of course, the metronome marking here is 96 beats a minute. So let's take a listen to this etude played just on the snare drum and bass drum at 96 beats a minute, the exact tempo that Gary calls for in his book. Finally, once you're comfortable with this, start moving it around the drum set. I'm going to play it here up to speed, again at 96 beats per minute, around the drum set, and you'll be very surprised at how quickly you can start to utilize these subdivisions in your solo and fill ideas. Next episode, guys, we're going to take a look at this exact same material using stickings. In other words, compound stickings, mixtures of singles and doubles, which Gary introduced in sticking patterns. This is fantastic stuff, guys. You don't want to miss it. Hit the subscribe button and the bell. You don't want to miss the next episode. Until next time.